Hey guys, we are at the AWFS. I always get that mixed up. And we are with Matt and Amy Outlaw from 731 Woodworks. So we're just gonna ask them some questions and just kind of get to know who they are. I'm sure you guys already know, but we're gonna ask some other stuff. So you guys wanna say hi? We gotta pass the mic back.
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
So if you can, yeah, you going hold that. So give us a little bit of your background, like kind of how you got started into woodworking and what made you want to do a YouTube channel, all that stuff.
So I was broke. That's why I started woodworking. I mean, that's why I borrowed some tools from my dad and father-in-law and started building stuff. Went online, found Jay Bates, and found some outdoor chair set. He had free plans for it. And I thought, hey, I could probably do that. And I was really looking for a way to make some extra money because we were like really like paycheck to paycheck, or even worse, you know. And so I wanted some extra money to be able to take her on a date, or just, you know, have a spending cash. And so I saw that and I thought I could build and sell those. So I had another YouTube channel called Monitoring Reviews. I don't do anything with it, but it's like radio scanners for police and stuff like that. I used to be really big into those. It was making about $200 a year on ad revenue. And so once every 6 months or so, I'd get a $100 deposit in the account. And when I got that $100 deposit, that's when I started looking for ways to try to turn that money into more money, right? And so that's when I started woodworking. I went and bought the 2x4s, built it, and she come home from work and I had built it, and she's like, hey, I want those. I was like, no, these are for sale. And so she helped me set it up to sell because she's really good at like staging things and making it look presentable. And so she put a rug down in the garage, and we put the chair on each side with the table, and then she put like drinks on the table, pillows in the chairs, and like they sold within a day or two.
A day.
And I just repeated the process. Yeah. And then after that, about 2-3 months later, I started the YouTube channel to do the same thing. I thought, well, if the other channel is making $200 a year and this one makes $200 a year, well, I have $400. That's kind of the idea.
Now, so when you got it staged and figured out what you wanted to say and all that, was it like Facebook Marketplace or?
Yeah, that's where we started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's where we posted it too. Yeah, that one, and it sold within a day.
Yeah,
so.
Really?
And the lady that bought it still has it, and she loves it.
Still on her porch. Still drive by and sit on her porch.
How cool! Did she have you autograph it? Or
no.
Now she would want you to come back.
I don't know about that.
But I taught both of her boys in school after that, so that was pretty cool.
So it was just local stuff then?
Local, yeah.
And that's the way you just started out and then just adding different products?
Yep. Well, mostly, you know, so he has the same chair set. Jay Bates has one that's a bench. And so I made that a few times, and those sold. And then you start getting requests. Well, hey, can you make this? Yeah. Can you make a coffee table? Can you make? And I had no idea if I could or not, but I always said yes. You know, and then I would have her. I'd say, what do we price this at? Because I didn't know. You know, I didn't have a clue. She's like, well, those usually sell for X, Y, or Z, and then we would go from there.
Sure. So you just go on and do your research and find out what other stuff sells for. That's like that. Yeah.
And I think in the beginning we pretty much underpriced everything.
Way underpriced everything.
Because we were so new. Yeah.
But I'm okay with that because my skill level was at that point too.
Yeah. Right.
So then, did you add kind of different products as you went? You said you get like requests. What was one of your best-selling products?
The best seller we ever had was a stove cover.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people she called them noodle boards.
Noodle boards.
Yeah, a lot of older people call them noodle boards, and that's where they used to make their noodles and stuff on, you know, pasta and stuff. But those sold, like I sold $30,000 worth of those in a year off of Etsy. And I could ship those because the max size I would sell was 36 inches by probably 24, 25 inches. But she come up with a handle design, the way they looked was kind of custom. Nobody else had anything like it. All pocket holes and one by material. Like really, I could make one in about an hour or less. Yeah. Especially once I got to making them. And we was doing that. Like I got sick of making them. I had made so many of them.
So did you like put food safe oil on it, kind of thing? So there was no issues with that.
We also advertised that they were not to be cut on.
Right.
Yeah, they're just soft. Like I was building them out of spruce, so it was soft woods and stuff.
Yeah. Not
they're
like
more for decoration.
Right.
A lot of people don't use their stoves. Like a lot of people don't cook, so they just needed extra counter space, and that's what they would use those for.
And we made one on the channel. We did one, and we covered it with epoxy, but the same thing. And we use it all the time. Vicky loves it.
Yeah.
And I never even thought about it. It's like
I didn't either.
And somebody said something about noodle board. I'm going, what is that?
Yeah.
I have no idea what that is. But they're very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what would you price a noodle board at?
So I started them out at like $65 or $75, and that's way underpriced. But that was local. Eventually, I got to where I was priced. They could buy them for $100 locally, or I would ship them anywhere in the United States for $115. No, it was $130, $129 with free shipping on Etsy. Etsy was where I was selling them at mostly. And now, that was 3 years ago. Now I would up that probably another $30 now, just because the price of everything's gone up. But they're easy to make and sell fast.
So I'm curious, from a shipping standpoint, did you find a box that was just perfect kind of thing? No. Boxes?
So Walmart sells some just packing boxes, and you pick the large. They have small, medium, and large. My local Walmart did. And I would take and cut those down and make them, bend them up. And after I wrapped them in bubble wrap, you would bend and cut the box to fit and tape it all up.
It became an art.
It looked pretty bad, but it kept them. I only had like one every couple of months get damaged in shipping. Like it wasn't terrible.
We always insured them because of that.
I would always buy the insurance because eventually, you know how people sometimes they'll just throw your stuff around, even if you got fragile stickers all over.
So did you send it USPS?
Yep, priority mail.
Priority mail.
That was the cheapest, even from FedEx or UPS. USPS was by far the cheapest.
But we've discovered now that UPS has been cheaper for us if we've got larger packages.
Recently.
It really depends, because you have to, because I do the same thing when I'm shipping a big sign, or most of everything we ship is small, so USPS is great because of the boxes and all of that. But sometimes it's weird, and sometimes it depends on where it's going and all of that. So it makes a difference to shop, be able to look and shop that stuff around and compare.
We're using Shippo now, Shippo.com, and you can see the price of USPS, FedEx, UPS, even DHL. I think you can add on there. And so if you have an account with any of those, it'll tell you the price before you ship it.
Price comparison.
Yeah,
it'll show
got
you.
it in a list.
Yeah, it'll show you exactly which one.
Check the box next to the one you want.
And we're doing that now with Vicky does all that with Shopify. Shopify, give you all kinds of options of which way to go.
So then, when did you start? When did you kind of convert from like selling products and making products into like making YouTube your full-time deal?
So, COVID, right? August of 2020, all the YouTube channels took off because of COVID. Everybody's at home looking for stuff, and so my stove covers were still selling at the same rate. And I made a video in August of 2020 called my 5 best-selling woodworking projects, or 5 woodworking projects that sell. That video hit 1 million views really quick, like in just a few weeks. And I told her at the time, I was like, I think we can take this and run with it. So I started doubling down on making videos. And so from that point on, in that video, I always tell the story that I think it was a God thing, because I was wearing a Christian shirt in that video. It was the first video I had worn a Christian shirt, just by accident. I just had it on. And the video took off, and I said, this is our chance to take the channel and use it for a higher purpose and start spreading the gospel. So I started buying Christian-based shirts, and I wear them in every video now. And of course, we got the link to the gospel in the description, so people can watch that. All of our physical products we send out now with a tract, a gospel tract. But when it took off, I thought, it was a couple of months after that probably, and we talked about. I said, I got to pick which direction I'm going here. Am I going to continue to make these noodle boards all the time, or certain products for sale, or focus more on the content? And so I felt like the content had a bigger upside
for
to
sure.
it.
Scalable.
And so I told her, I said, I'm fixing to stop all sales of this $30,000 a year gamble here, because it was making good money. So
definitely a leap.
I completely stopped. I just took all the listings off of Etsy and stopped taking those orders. We're still doing some custom furniture, but I was trying to focus more on the content. So it's kind of one of those. Because if the way Etsy works, if you stop doing something, like, it's hard to get that traction back. And so we just.
So were you still a trooper at that time, or had you quit by then?
No, I was still a trooper until May of 21.
Oh, okay.
That's when I quit.
All right.
But you had already started kind of the evolution of going into content creation by that point.
Yeah, it was about 6 months into really going after the content when I quit the full-time job there.
It was one of those deals where he couldn't keep doing both jobs well. You know, you can either do both jobs and not do them so well, or you can stop one and do one extremely well. So he had to pick which one mattered to him.
Yeah.
And
well, that was actually a question we were going to ask you, Amy, is as the wife, because I know when I quit my full-time good job, my wife was super supportive, but there was some little bit of issues or a little bit of fear there. Was it difficult for you when he quit his job to focus on content? Matt, I'm sorry, you got to keep doing that.
It's fine.
he's used to it.
It's fine.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
So it was not difficult, and I'm a worrier. I worry about everything all the time. Lay in bed at night and I worry about a million things that don't matter. But he come to me on a Friday. He had been working out early that morning. I was still in bed. He come to me when my alarm went off and woke me up, and he said, I want to quit my job and do this full time. Like, from the moment my eyes opened, that's what I got. And I said, okay, let's do it. And for some reason, it's God driven. That's the only explanation I have for it. I wasn't worried at that moment, in that moment, and I have not been worried since that moment. And we lost all of our benefits, our insurance that we paid no premium on. His job paid all the premiums. We had little to no copay on anything that we did, and that was a big chunk that we were saying goodbye to. But I don't know, God calmed me on that, and I was at peace with it.
You knew it was the right thing.
I knew. I absolutely knew.
Yeah. And one thing about that, I was watching a video a couple days ago. A guy works for the company Yellow. It's a big trucking company that just went bankrupt, and every one of those employees just lost their retirement. And I thought, I was worried about losing retirement when I left, because while I'm vested and I can draw a small amount when I'm 65, I could have been pretty much set as drawing a regular, paycheck basically when you retire. But that, to me, it's false security, because that's not a guarantee. It's not even a guarantee you're going to make it that long anyway. But we basically had to change my mentality from, because I kept worrying, okay, well, what about retirement? What about retirement? And it's just a false sense of security that retirement's going to take care of you when you're older,
right?
Instead of putting our security and our hope in God, because that's where the security's at, not in a government that may or may not be providing for you when you get there anyway.
And things can change. The things that you think are rock solid, that it's going to be there just because it's been there, things can change in an instant that you have no control over.
That's right.
Yeah. And so, absolutely. I've heard a long time ago, I heard a statement that said, the way for most people on a job, the way they take and put this security, if you think about it in levels, the way they put this security, basically they take the opportunity off the top and they throw it underneath and they call it security. But even at that, and that was like 40 years ago, but that is not even secure anymore, because everything can change in an instant.
Well, look at what the pandemic taught us. The government can shut, because I was in construction for a long time, the government shut everything down. That was job security. In the Bay Area, the tech companies were building billion-dollar buildings, and everybody had tons of work and all the overtime you wanted. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, the government said, "No, sorry guys, you can't go to work," and people can't pay their bills. We can get into the whole government, but that's probably
even being a business owner. You think being a business owner and an entrepreneur business owner for a brick and mortar store, how many of those went out of business? We have a good friend.
Everything.
We have a good friend that had a really thriving martial arts business in California. They just shut him down one day. That's it. You can't do it no more. Restaurants, it's just, it was insane. Anyway, we're getting off track.
I know. Let's stay away from that subject. That'll be for another podcast. So do you guys ever get any, I guess, any flack for sharing your faith so openly?
Yes.
Really? Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
So, I get, those comments will come through. I see them on the YouTube channel pretty regularly, a few a week. But by and large, we get
a lot
thousands more that are in support of it, even somebody that doesn't believe the way we believe. So I've gotten messages from Muslims and other religions that they're not, atheists that are not Christian, but they will email or send me a private message on Instagram or something and say, hey, we don't believe the same way, but I appreciate the content you're doing. I appreciate that you're not afraid to share your faith. And so then we can discuss back and forth. If
That's cool.
Sometimes they have questions, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
So we get thousands more in support of it versus not supportive.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So when you do get like a negative comment or, there's some nasty people on YouTube. There's people will say anything as long as you don't have to see their face, right? If they can hide behind a screen.
Keyboard warriors.
Yeah, keyboard warriors. How does that like affect you guys, and how do you handle stuff like that?
Yeah.
Does it matter?
Well, 99% of them never bother me. I don't care, But there are like, if there's a hint of truth in something, it'll sting a little bit, Especially if you think about, I'm bald, or my ears don't match or whatever. I sound like a redneck. Like if they talk about certain things like that, that feel personal. It'll sting for a minute, and then you're like, wait a minute. I don't know this person. They don't know me. They don't know who I am. I get a lot of comments about me being a shield or a sellout or whatever because I'm showing tools, or
Sure.
I have 5 tools, 5 of my favorite tools, or whatever. I get a lot of those type comments, especially from someone who maybe subscribed when I was having a lot more build videos, and now that the tool videos perform so much better. And I just enjoy the tools too. Then they kind of start taking things to a different level. Now there are some very respectful comments. Hey, I really like the way you build things and explain things. Are you going to do more of those? Or I would like to see more of those. And we have more coming. But by and large, the channel's really tool focused now. But yeah, those comments bother you sometimes. But for the most part, 99% of them don't. They don't.
Now, have you, because what we do, because we don't have a channel anywhere near your size, but we still get those once in a while. And at the beginning, I would get just...
It devastated or mad.
Give me your address. And, anyway, but I got to the point where, especially one that we got, that I just start laughing. It's just now I just find it humorous, and we've been saving those up, and we'll probably do a video where keeping the bad words out, but we'll do a video that will be all just Karen comments or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I've told him he should do that.
Yeah.
Because some of them are just so colorful.
I had a guy email me. It's been about 6-8 months ago now. Maybe a little longer. Big old long email saying that he now tells his son not to grow up and be like me. And I was like, you're absolutely right. I responded, I said, you're absolutely right. He should not be like me. He should try to be more like Jesus because I am not your role model, But I try to respond in that way now. When I see if I know for a fact it's from a bad place, they're trying to be mean or negative, I'll respond and say, I don't know what makes you feel like you need to lash out at random people on the internet. But if you ever want to talk about anything, give me a shout. Use the contact form on the website. I'm happy to talk to you. There's obviously something going on in your life because a happy person or someone who doesn't have those anger issues, they're not going to lash out at some random guy on the internet. If I don't like a video, I'm just not going to watch it.
And he's had people respond back and say, I'm really sorry for what I said. I was just going through. One of them, I think,
he lost his mom that day.
Yeah, his mom had passed, and he was having some struggles, and he apologized. He said, I'm so sorry I said that to you guys, to you.
And I've had a couple of those that I just responded back and said, I'm sorry for whatever's going on in your life that you felt that you needed to do that. If I offended you, I'm sorry. I pray for you. I hope things get better for you, whatever. And I've had people come back and do the same thing. Eric, I'm so sorry, bad day, whatever. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
But it's amazing how your reaction, just somebody's reaction to a situation like that can change the other person's kind of mentality a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what
Sometimes.
I mean? Sometimes. Dad used to tell me when I first got married, he said, as soon as the voices go up, so do the walls, right? And I always thought that was pretty good. I tried to teach my daughter that. She didn't catch on quite yet, but yeah, just your reaction and how you handle that. But like you said, sometimes they're like.
Now, there's been a lot of times where I'll see the comment. Well, I'm going back at them and she'll like, don't send that.
Yeah.
I've done that. I've typed out what I thought it was a good retort, and then delete.
Yeah.
We've had people post in our community on Facebook things like they'll say, "Yeah, Matt and Amy got into fight with me on comments
it
or
said some
something
guys
like that.
say that
Stuff
we lashed out or something.
Yeah, that we've lashed out and we've attacked them in comments. We've never, ever done
There's some guy
anything like
posted
that.
on James King community. Anyway, there was somebody made a post that said, "I hate these clickbait thumbnails," and there was like 4 of them, and mine was one of them. And then some guy said, "Yeah, I said something to him, and he lashed out. Him and his wife lashed out at me, and all this stuff." I was like, that didn't happen.
Yeah, they you get stuff like that, and it makes anger usually incites more anger.
Yeah.
And so they do that kind of stuff to get more engagement on their own comments. They just want to see it, and the more something is there, the more others will believe it and start adding to it, and it grows into this giant ball of lies and anger, and nobody wins in that.
Yeah.
So
Well, the division and negativity sell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look at the news, right?
Yeah.
They're all getting advertising revenue
Right.
and all that stuff from division and anger. That's just that's what, along with a few other bad things that sell. But yeah,
Careful.
yeah.
Go off that cliff.
Yeah, I'll
real
go off
easy.
that one too. So, where do you guys see the future? Well, Amy, I know you just started a YouTube channel.
I did.
That's right.
I just retired from school, being a school teacher, so there. I'm going to miss my kids. Not going to miss, we'll say, the politics of education. But I just started my own channel, and I will truly say that every time he has said this to others, I believe it now more than ever. The hardest part is hitting record the first time. Now the hardest part is consistency, but starting that, it's so incredibly scary and difficult.
It's intimidating.
But I told him, I said, I'm used to being in front of a group of kids or a group of parents or admin, that sort of thing, and that didn't bother me. But when that camera comes on, you just kind of go into your little,
This setting is totally different too than you put a camera up in your living room or your shop.
And it's just you and that
It's just you
camera.
and the camera.
Yeah, it feels like the most unfriendly face right there when you're facing that camera. But I absolutely love it. It's been so much fun. And so I told him, I said, why am I so scared of that camera when this is what I love doing? And so it's been nice. My channel has nothing to do with his. It's Amy's OCD. It's all about clothes and fashion and shoes and jewelry and purses and organization in your house and everything absolutely fabulous in the world. So
I think one thing that, like her starting out, and even my channel, you guys may do it too, is you look at your content and then you're comparing it to the person way above you.
Yes.
And somebody, I forgot where we heard that, but somebody said don't compare your beginning to someone else's middle or end, because like, I look at other channels that are much, much larger than mine and have grown much faster than mine. I'm like, how? What takes them from 0 to 1 million subscribers in 2 years, and I'm here at 7 years, Or same thing, you're starting out, you see your video's got 300 views, and somebody else done a similar video a year ago and it's got 100,000 views or 1 million views.
And we do that all the
we
time.
were just talking about that
Almost
the other
every day.
I think it's just human nature to compare yourself to whoever's above you, but you're kind of running your own race, and I get lost in that too sometimes. We're like, well, I'll look at channels that have 2 million subscribers and their videos are getting 1,000 or 2,000 views per video. I'm like, well, how's that possible? They should be getting lots more views.
Right.
So it's just really, everybody has their own thing, and if you try not to compare yourself to others, it's good to look at other content, try to improve your own, but try to be your own thing and run your own race. I think is kind of the best advice on that.
Yeah, and I've heard this. Don't compare, don't compare to other people. Just compare it to yourself, to where you were before. Have you done better? Are you doing better? And that's what I try to keep in my mind. And I go back and we watched a video that Dad and I did like 10, 12 years ago. It's brutal. It's just it's brutal. It's brutal. But so at least I can see evolution, that we're getting better for what we're doing. So it's tough when you see, especially some of the trends out there. We kind of addressed that on a video that Ryan did not too long ago, where you see some of these YouTubers that maybe have a gimmick that they want to, that has nothing to do with woodworking. I want, and all of a sudden they get 400,000 views in 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's like,
It feels
man.
like they get all these inflated views for being disingenuous, and you're trying to be yourself, and you're trying to actually put information out there that matters, and then you've got somebody that uses these gimmicks, and it just sometimes doesn't feel very fair.
but I can't even imagine the hate or the negative that those guys
Oh,
get.
I'm sure.
I can't even. They must not read their I don't know how they do it. That would just be. It must be horrendous, the kind of stuff that they get. So, everything has a price to pay, I guess.
Which, speaking of videos, your pizza cutter video was one of the best ones. Did you watch that one yet? I watched that yesterday, I think. That was a great video.
I went back and forth on making that. I ordered all of those. Well, I saw the festival pizza cutter thing, and I was like, man, it's so dumb. Why are they making that? I got to order that. And so I ordered it, and I was like, they have to. That can't be the first one. So I looked on Amazon. There was a couple more, so I ordered them. And those I had them like in the box in the shop for what, a month?
Yeah, because he
I was
kept
like,
going
this
back
is
and
so
forth.
dumb. I'm not making this video. And I
But
knew.
he laughed all the way through.
I did, and my editor, thank you, Chris. He kept cutting out where I was like, "You're such an idiot. Why are you making this video?" Because I kept saying that through the video. I was laughing at myself. It was fun. I mean, I done it just for fun. And, I knew when I put it out, it wouldn't do well. It's like the worst video I've put out in the last 10, but I kind of knew that going in. But it was a lot of fun, and the people that watched it, really, they were like, "Man, I could tell you were wanting to crack up the whole time." So sometimes you can just. It's okay to have some of those that you're just having fun with. It's not a big deal.
And that's the thing. Sometimes we just need. I tell Ryan, we need to get maybe a little bit more humor, and that one that he did, and then the one we did,
thought it was hilarious.
the 5 disagreements, father and son 5 disagreements. Sometimes we just gotta lighten it up and have fun.
If you're doing like YouTube for a business and you want to grow the channel, you have to have some what they call hero videos, the ones that are pretty. A staple of your channel that you typically do well. You're going to do those over and over. For me, 5 tools, whatever.
Yeah.
Those listicle videos do well. But you also have to have relational videos, community building videos that people can relate to and just have fun with. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You have to think of YouTube as a marathon and not a sprint, right?
Yeah.
So if you're looking at it that way, one video out of however many hundred you have, it's okay,
Cool.
So where do you guys see the future? Where do you guys see your business going in the future?
Well, we have another business that's called Faith Valley that we are hoping to eventually have our own product line. So that's the big thing that we're working on. It's really hard to find people to work with you and get your product out there. We've been working with, we worked with somebody for a couple of years and never got any traction, never got our product made, our launch product. So that's a big thing we're working on right now. Other than that, I think his goal is to be the biggest woodworking channel on YouTube. Why not dream big? Yeah, that's his thing.
I think I love tools, and I think that I don't know, for whatever reason I'm gravitated to those. So I think being the biggest woodworking tool channel on YouTube, I think I'm almost there, just because of the view counts we can get on tool videos, and I just need to make some more connections with tool companies. I don't take a whole lot of free tools at all. We buy 99.9% of them. Other than the rigid track saw just come out, and I knew to be able to get that first, I had to have a relationship with them. And so I had started working with them back when I made a Hater's Guide to Ryobi video, tool video.
Yep.
And so Ryobi reached out, which gave me a connection to Rigid.
Yeah.
And I knew that Rigid had teased the track saw, so I reached out and said, hey, I'd love to be able to show this first. And we'll give that away. It's not that I'm keeping that. But having those relationships to get those early launch tools is good to have. But for the most part, 99.9, we spend thousands of dollars a month on tools that we buy, and then we typically will give those away unless I just really like it. Milwaukee track saw, I can't let it go yet. But typically, if it's a tool that already have something similar, we just turn around and give those away. It's just a way for us to give back to the community, because we've been blessed. We've been beyond blessed with being able to do this full time, and especially our channel members and our Patreon supporters. We call those our 2 Before Nation, and we have our own little sticker made, and they get exclusive stuff. But we typically give a lot of those tools back to those because they're directly supporting us. But the goal is to be one of the biggest, if not the biggest. So
that's fantastic. That's so cool. That's great.
Do you have a last question?
Let's wrap this up. So the most important question that's just been gnawing at me. Do you guys have a favorite father and son sign making YouTube?
We do.
We do.
Set-
By
do
far.
you?
Like,
Okay.
by far.
Okay.
Really
That's-
nice guys that run it.
Yep. They're from Arizona. Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you might be right.
Good-looking dudes.
I agree.
Yeah. You
They
guys
also
are
just
blessed.
put out a really cool video, so.
Yeah, it was a really cool, really cool.
Well, thank you guys
No.
so much. Do you have any closing thoughts for everybody? Any advice, life advice, anything?
Well, I'll tell you this. If you want a happy marriage, picture a triangle, right? Put God at the top. You're here, your wife's here. The closer you get to God, the closer you two will be together. And I think that's kind of worked out for us. And you notice when you start getting away from that, both of you start having, arguments and stuff. And you always have to put her first. I always say that. That's good life advice, because anytime if a job come before her, or the videos, if I'm prioritizing other things ahead of her, that's when we usually start having some issues there.
Yeah.
And as far as like work or dreams, like, go for it, because you got this much time in life. And if you don't take advantage of that time, I heard Steve Harvey say one time, I don't want to be laying on my deathbed with my wishes or my dreams standing around me asking, why didn't you chase me?
Yeah.
This kind of always sticks in my mind. Like, we only have a healthy, Lord willing, if you're healthy during your younger years, you only have this much time.
Yeah.
A certain time, at some point it's gone.
Yeah.
Right?
Regret's the worst.
Yeah.
Regret,
It is.
it's the worst. In so many different areas. But yeah, absolutely.
What about you?
I think for me, some people feel like chasing their dreams is impossible. It's not something they can just, drop everything and go out there and do. And I think that as long as you don't let go of that dream and know you're working toward it, it's okay to continue doing a job that you may not like at the moment. Do that job, but continue to work toward eventually making that leap over and chasing that dream. I felt like, my dream at one time was to be a school teacher. When I was a little girl, I didn't have an imaginary friend. I had an imaginary teacher, and I felt like life started, marriage and babies, and so I let go of my dream to be a school teacher for years, and I worked and I was miserable in what I was doing. And my daddy, right before my dad died, he told me, he said, I want you to go back to school and finish being a teacher. And it was basically his dying wish. And when he said that to me, he was on his deathbed, and it made me think. And so I continued doing the job I didn't like, but I went back to school, and it was hard and rough, but it paid off, and that led to here now. But I still had that dream. My dream has now changed, but I let go of my dream for a long time because I thought life can take your dreams away, but it can't. Life doesn't take your dreams away. It may stall them or put them on hold, but as long as you keep moving forward, you can still get
And
there.
it may be something as simple as, buying a business book and reading that.
Yeah.
And trying to learn just a little bit at a time to get you to where you want to go.
Yeah. I took one class per semester at night.
Yep, she did that for a long time.
And it took a long time, but it was so worth it.
Yeah.
In the end.
So cool.
My dad died right before I graduated with my degree, but I know he was there, and I know that had he not said that to me basically in that moment, because I only had about 3 classes left when that happened, I was so close, but had he not said that, I don't know if I would have ever pushed forward. I don't know.
Great answer. Great answer,
Man,
guys.
that's
Yeah.
some good advice, you guys.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Good stuff. So, if you guys don't follow these, you're making a huge mistake. These guys are just amazing, and what you're seeing on camera right now is exactly what you see when the camera goes off. These guys are truly genuine, great people. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
are y'all. Thank you.
All right, guys. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.
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 Awesome. Thank you.
Dude, you guys are the freaking best.
You guys are
appreciate it.
awesome.
Thank you.